Jesus said that he's not the God of the dead, he's God of the living. So, and he was talking about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and including everyone else. And not only was Jesus raised from the dead, all of those that were in the grave, meaning Abraham's bosom, were risen with him. They're all alive too. What they're doing, he doesn't tell us everything they're doing, but we know they're doing. Elijah, as I've said before in Matthew 17, you can see it, and Moses was talking to Jesus. They were on assignment. They were alive. Dead people physically, but on assignment eternally. I don't know what God is going to do with you or what your competency level is. But I know that that's important, that you walk in a holiness. Now, I was reading something that Peter was saying in the resurrection, and he was quoting an Acts saying, why are you looking at us like this as though we did something? He says that God's power or his holiness. I mean, I never thought of God's power and holiness were the same. But the authority of God against the powers of darkness is based also not on your being born again, but what you've allowed God to take you to in your growth with him, in your eating. Holiness is a state of being. Be ye holy. See that? Being. Be ye holy, even as your Father in heaven is holy. It's a state of being, not just something you get to. It's something you walk in, and that's power. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, I have a number of places here that I want to, just want to talk to you about stuff. Now, I am videoing this right now, so those of you on the prayer line, you get to hear me, but those, one day, I don't know when, I'm sure that probably Miss Daisy, meaning Miss Ellenwood, is going to probably break down my teaching yesterday. I taught 2 times a leadership group like I used to do at Manna. First, a bunch of people pounded into a room, crowded, and those that couldn't get in, they put a speaker out there in the sanctuary so those that came late could hear. And then I just continued on in the service, like I've done numbers of places like that. Even at the Father's house, I mean, when we were in our initial location, I would get there at 5 a.m. At 6 a.m., David Brandon and Miss Ellenwood would be my 2 church believers. I found them right then. Didn't wait. 8 o'clock, I had an early service. 9 o'clock, we had a service. And then at 11 o'clock, we had another service. I preached 4 times before noon. That's just what it is. Been like that, like, for decades now. There's no reason for me to let up now. So it looks like I'm not. So here we go. Look, so I was quoting out of 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 says that we're bought with a price. Therefore, we glorify God with our body and our spirit. Now, notice that now. With our body, that's physical, and our spirit, that's eternal, that's invisible. See, there is an invisible thing and a visible thing that God's doing. And this is really true. Your thoughts, the pure thoughts you have, your the peace that passes understanding inside of you, the unconditional love in there, the hope you have, that's invisible. But on the outside, you're doing great and mighty things. And people can see and observe your great attitude towards them, what you say to them, your willingness to help service them. And that's both of those. God is the author of your goodness, and it's not stopping. You're continuing on with it, and God is blessed by the level of life you're living and the effect you're having. He's getting the glory for it, but you are obedient. And in that obedience, he's increasing the power of the eternal part of you to the natural encounters you have in life. And maybe nobody's told you lately, and this word may be greatly used, but you're amazing. You see? So that's what we got. So the process that he's working is from the inside out. That's why it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, if any man be in Christ, see, he's a new creature. Old things are passed away. Now, what? What old things are passed away? In Christ, that means everything you were guilty of. That's covered in the blood. When Jesus was resurrected, he poured his blood out on this, the mercy seat, the seat that says to the Father, I paid the penalty, which was death for sin. Adam's transgression, as it says in Romans 5, Adam made this mistake of overt sin. The penalty was death. And for several thousand years, man lived under the penalty of God. And God still worked with man without annihilating him, and prophesied that there is going to be a way that the penalty could be paid without his having to start over again. Well, the penalty was paid, and he did start over again, and you are a part of the new start, the new beginnings in Christ. That's what he's saying. If any man be in Christ, you are the new thing God has brought into this world, and the devil hates you, the work of God. He didn't know that Jesus going on the cross and Jesus dying, that was not going to be it, that 3 days later he was going to be raised from the dead, and life was going to be even more amazing than ever, because there was going to be many, what we call now, little Christ. You're not little Christ. Christ in you, he's amazing. The difference is you yield to him, and in that process of yielding, which Romans 6 talks about, yielding yourself unto God, you see, unto righteousness, you, Christ, starts showing off in your mortal body. And so you become so impactful by your yielding to the greatness of God in you. And that's why Paul wrote in in Colossians 1:27, Christ in you, the hope of glory. So you tell me Christ has ordained to live in you, and he's unamazing? That Christ isn't prolific in you? No, you don't know the effect of the witness you have of him to someone using the Bible, or you don't know that benevolent service that you did for someone affected them so they were converted by it. God is great in Christ everywhere. And if you've let him in your heart, his greatness continues. So bless you. Look, be encouraged. For the joy of the Lord is your strength, is my prayer for you. God bless.